They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but for Malik, one picture spoke what the system refused to hear. He was 17, quiet, wore his hoodie up, eyes low but wide open. In a city that didn't care for black boys who didn't talk loud, Malik didn't need noise to be heard. He let his sketchbook speak. Each page was a mirror, every line a truth, ugly, beautiful, unfiltered. But the world don't like mirrors, especially when they reflect injustice. That day he was just sitting. Public park, same bench, same pencil, sketching the world like he always did, until the world sketched him back in blue. A cop, Officer Raymond, walked up like he owned the air, looked Malik up and down like he was profiling a suspect. "What you drawing, huh?" he asked, smirking like power was a game. Malik looked up, calm. "Just people," he said. Didn't flinch, didn't fold. But the cop wasn't there for a conversation. He came for a confrontation. Raymond snatched the sketchbook like it was contraband, flipped through it like it was a joke. Art of faces, struggle, protest, pain. "Looks like trash," he muttered, and dropped it into a dirty puddle. The pages soaked, the stories bled. Malik stared, silent, but not broken, because that's what they never understand. You can tear a page, but you can't erase the story. Malik walked home with wet shoes, wet eyes, and dry fists. But instead of crying, he drew. He drew Raymond's face from memory, every wrinkle of smugness. He drew the boot crushing the pencil, the badge gleaming like arrogance, and above it all, the word power. Not the kind that protects, the kind that punishes. Weeks later, there was a national art competition. Theme, justice through our eyes. Malik entered anonymously. No name, just truth. The piece, Power Trip. Nobody knew who the artist was until it went viral. Social media lit up. News anchors called it haunting. Art critics called it a visual protest. The city wanted to honor the artist. And that's when Malik stepped forward. Raymond saw it on the news, saw his own cruelty blown up on murals and memes. The whole city saw him, not as an officer, but as a symbol of abuse. He tried to deny it, tried to say it never happened. But body cam footage don't lie. The tape showed it all. Him mocking the art, throwing the sketchbook, smirking like pain was a punchline. Internal Affairs launched an investigation. Raymond got suspended. No badge, no gun, just consequences. Meanwhile, Malik's life flipped. He got offered $250,000 by a private art collector, half of it. He used to fund art classes for black kids in his hood. The other half, he built a studio, free pencils, open doors, and walls meant for truth. They tried to silence him. Instead, they gave him a stage. One day, Raymond passed the studio. On the wall, a mural of Power Trip, 20 feet tall, a monster in blue, and a pencil snapping under his boot. People saw it, looked at Raymond, then looked back at the wall. He kept walking, but the shame followed him home. He lost the power. Malik found his, but the story didn't stop there, because a week later, a little girl walked into Malik's studio, tears in her eyes, crumpled paper in her hand. "They took my notebook at school," she said. "Said I was distracting." Malik looked at her, felt the echo of that puddle, that pain, that silence. Social media lit up. He asked gently, "You remember what they looked like?" She nodded. He handed her a pencil and turned the page. Because Malik didn't just draw anymore. He taught others to draw back. And the more they sketched, the more they exposed. One drawing at a time, they were cornering a system that used to erase them. Malik didn't need revenge. He gave the world something sharper than anger. He gave them truth. Because when they tossed his sketchbook, they didn't break him. They woke him. And now, he's sketching something bigger, something dangerous, something they can't ignore. But this time, he's not alone. And the next drawing might just be you. They thought it ended when Officer Raymond got suspended. They thought one mural meant Malik was done. But that sketchbook, that was just the match. Now the fire was spreading. Malik didn't sit still. He kept drawing, kept listening. Kids from across the neighborhood started showing up. Quiet ones. Scared ones. The ones who learned to keep their heads down and mouths shut. But Malik? He gave him a voice, with charcoal and ink. One girl came in with tears in her eyes and a folder full of old school incident reports. Said, "They called me disruptive, but all I did was cry when I got searched." Another boy showed up with bruises on his ribs and said, "They told me if I ran, they'd make it worse. I didn't run. They still did." Malik took their words, their pain, and turned it into something raw, something real, a new wall in the back of the art studio. The wall of shadows. Each drawing, a face. Each face, a story. And next to every face, a badge number. He wasn't hiding anymore. He wanted people to know. And then came the tipping point. A janitor from the precinct, an older brother named Reggie, who used to babysit Malik back in the day, showed up with a flash drive, said, "You ain't hear this from me, but somebody's got to show him what really goes down." The files on that drive, body cam footage, internal memos, audio recordings. One video showed Raymond laughing after a takedown, saying, "These kids ain't got daddies, so we got to teach them how to take a hit." Malik stared at the screen, fists clenched, vision blurring. He didn't cry, he didn't yell. He sketched. A courtroom. Raymond in the witness box, hand raised. But instead of a Bible under his palm, it was a sketchbook. Malik called his uncle, an ex-journalist who still had friends in the city paper. Told him, "I'm ready to go public." And the next day, they did. Front page, headline, "Teen Artist Uncovers Pattern of Abuse in Local Precinct." The mural got featured. The footage went viral. The council scheduled an emergency hearing. Raymond? He got reinstated the same week. Said the suspension was procedural. But Malik walked straight into that hearing with his head high and his art rolled up under his arm like a sword. When he unrolled that canvas, 10 feet wide, every inch bleeding truth, the room fell silent. Not just because of the drawings, but because of the names written underneath. He turned to face the council, spoke into the mic like he was speaking into history. "They didn't just toss my sketchbook. They tossed every kid who ever looked like me, talked like me, lived like me. But we remember, and we draw." Behind him, cameras clicked. Phones recorded. Some people cried. Others shifted in their seats. And in the back row, Raymond stood up, tried to walk out, but Malik's voice stopped him. "You remember Jalen Price? You slammed him into a gate and said, 'Don't be soft like your mama.' I drew that gate. I drew his mama too." Raymond froze. Malik turned back to the mic. "I was scared the first time you threw my book. Now I hope you see what you started." The room exploded in noise. Reporters swarmed. Council members called for a motion. Raymond left the room with his jaw tight and his future looking real uncertain. Later that night, Malik got a DM from an anonymous account. No words, just a video file. He played it. Body cam footage. Different officer this time. Different kid. Same abuse. Same silence. And just like that, Malik realized Raymond wasn't a one-man storm. He was the front of something bigger. So Malik did what they didn't expect. He drew all of them, compiled every name, every badge, every incident. And then he got quiet, told nobody where he was staying, only kept copies of the footage on a backup drive, hidden in a sketchbook in his backpack. But trouble always finds truth when it gets too loud. That same night, he noticed a black SUV parked across the street from the studio. No plates, windows blacked out, engine off. But it was there, just sitting, watching. It stayed there for 3 days straight. Malik kept drawing. On the 4th day, he went to open the studio and froze. The lock was broken, the door slightly open. Inside, chaos, sketches torn, hard drives gone, the mural defaced, spray paint slashed across the faces, and in the center of the room, taped to the floor, a single charcoal drawing of him sleeping, peaceful, with a red X over his eyes. Malik picked it up, didn't say a word, but his hands shook. That night, he went to his uncle's apartment, stayed low, didn't answer his phone. But the next morning, he turned on the news. Breaking report. Officer Raymond has been found dead in his apartment. No suspects. Investigation pending. Malik dropped the remote, and on the screen behind the reporter, a sketch of Raymond. Face twisted, eyes wide, same X across his chest. And the caption underneath? He couldn't erase what was drawn. But here's the question. Was this revenge or a warning?